How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at School Spirits. This is from 2023 and is a Paramount Plus original show that, for whatever reason, I found streaming on Netflix. Not quite sure what the deal was with that. It would be interesting to see shows shopped around on other streaming services. I guess it was kind of probably the ideas we'll put it on Netflix and kind of show people what Paramount Plus has to offer. I'm glad I could find it there, though. This show was created by Megan Trinrud and Nate Trinrud, and is actually based on a graphic novel that the two of them wrote. Strangely, though, the show came out before the graphic novel. I've heard of rights being sold for adaptations before something was out, but I don't know if I've ever seen where the adaptation got finished before the source material. But if you know comics, things can be excruciatingly slow sometimes, and the trade paperback I looked on Amazon isn't scheduled to come out till 2025, so I'll be interested to read it if I ever get the chance. Anyway, this stars Peyton List, Kristian Ventura, and Milo Manheim. And overall, this was a pleasant surprise. You know, I was flipping through the new stuff on Netflix. I wanted a show, but so many shows I'm not a big fan of. So many of them I tune out after episode 1. But this one, I saw it, and it reminded me a little bit of the BBC show Ghost. And I like that show, and the concept sounded good. You died in a high school, and in turn you have to kind of hang around the high school for all eternity. So living in the school is interesting. You're trying to solve your own murder, and there's like one human friend you can talk to. And, you know, it seemed interesting, and when I tuned in, I would wind up finishing the show in just a few sessions, which is really quick for me. I don't binge the whole thing at once, but I did finish it really fast. And I wound up really liking this. It was a good, pleasant surprise. Now, I do want to say with the tone, if you guys are going in for the Ghost, it's not super scary. So don't worry about big, scary moments or anything like that. It is much more of a mystery with a supernatural twist to it. It also has a good bit of heart and humor to it as well. And it really did stay moving and keep me interested. I really did like it. And the two big things here, the mystery and the characters, those are really what hooked me and what kept me going. The characters, you're kind of set up with a double cast here. You have the characters of the ghost world, and you also have the characters of the human world, and in turn there are quite a bit of them, but I don't think there was really any bad characters, you know? There's a bunch of interesting characters with their own little thing going on. In general, they're pretty charismatic and really fun to watch and learn more about. I think I like them all, and even though in the grand scheme of things, some of the characters didn't have a ton to do, but they were all good characters and you wanted to know what happened next, which leads to the second big thing, the mystery. The mystery was really twist and turny without being too complex. It wasn't a super deep, convoluted mystery, but it did constantly keep you guessing, and the show would go from time to time like, is it this person or that person? And you kind of knew if they were leading you on too much, it probably wasn't going to be that person. But honestly, for most of the show, you really have no idea, and it really could be almost anyone. And when you do know and care about the characters, it really does keep you invested and keep you hooked. And there's things other than murder that people might be hiding, and it is a lot of figuring out what's going on here, unraveling some false threads until we get to what it actually is, which is a pretty decent surprise. I will say, though, no spoilers, but it does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I hope we get a season 2. Like, that's the thing, if I was doing a streaming show, I wouldn't do cliffhangers, because so many of these shows disappear forever, and I think this one is doing pretty well, so I'm really hoping we'll get a season 2. We do get a resolution to the mystery, and we do find out a lot, but all the characters are put at this place where we're like, you got to give me a season 2 soon. If this doesn't have a continuation, I will be very grumpy. But I think it will. Here's hoping, but man, cliffhangers suck. Anyway though, it's a show I can definitely recommend. One that I watched really fast, one that I had a good time with, a good mystery, good characters, good humor and heart. I liked a lot of it, and it moved at a pretty good pace. You know, one that when you finished an episode, you'd want to pick up the next one. So I can definitely recommend it. If you guys want to know more, I'll go ahead and talk a bit more about the plot. No major spoilers, but I want to dive in, talk about a few things that I found interesting, do a little bit of analysis. But again, I don't have to spoil the ending to do that. But if you guys want to dig a little deeper, let's talk about the plot. We open up with our main character, who is a high school girl, and she's dead. We actually open up after she's dead, and in turn, we get flashbacks to the past. And I really like how in this, the flashbacks are in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so you can clearly tell what's said in the past, but also not knowing anything going in, these really do feel like little chunks, little bits of the mystery, little clues. Even though you're invested in the present, it never jars you out of it when we go to the past, because the past is like little clues, little bits. We're always curious when we go to the past what we'll learn, and I do like that. But as a ghost, she's meeting several other ghosts and is kind of learning and experiencing what life as a ghost is like. You get her friends, nerdy best friend character to keep her company. There's a jock character, and I like the idea he died during a game and they named the stadium after him. Always cool to get the idea that you met someone who they named something big after. And we also get like this girl from like the 60s who was strangled by a counselor, and in turn is really dark and has some trust issues. But all the ghosts go to this like therapy session led by a dead teacher, and the idea is you're gonna be here for a while, you gotta keep mentally sound. And some of the ghosts don't go to the therapy, and like the 70s girl is a little off the rails. There's members of the band that are just constantly practicing, going round in circles. You kind of gotta stay on top of yourself as a ghost. But I also like they throw in a few rules. There's no interaction with the human world at all, so no matter what you say, no matter what you do, it's all kind of irrelevant, which does lead to kind of the depression of being dead. She doesn't remember her murder, which is kind of unusual for a ghost not to remember their death, and even if she does solve it, what's she going to do, because she's cut off from the living world. And there's also the reset rule, which is different for Ghost, but it does make sense. It's just a little weird, where the idea that the ghost world doesn't interact with the regular world, and whatever you do will reset. So if you're a ghost in the library and you take a book off the shelf, the book in reality will still be on the shelf, but you'll perceive one in your hand, and you can flip through and read it and take it wherever you want or do whatever you want with it. But after a little while, your ghost copy of the book will reset and go back to the shelves. So the ghost can interact with stuff in the real world, but not really, and nothing they do will have any impact. Well, of course, we have the one break in the rules. Even though it's never happened before, one of her human friends does actually see her, and now she has a chance to actually do something about her murder. It's super unusual. She doesn't know who she can tell about it. She doesn't want to freak out the other ghost, but she talks to him, and they have to figure out how to do this. You know, like he can't take some information that she learned and then just spout it out, because how did he know that, you know? And you can't really transfer a bunch of stuff. You can't really interact with the human world all you can do is talk to the guy, so you have to figure out how to get one world to interact with the other just via communication. And there's also things like, if you're going to talk to him, having him pull out his cell phone and put it to his ear, good idea, because otherwise people will think he's just going crazy. And even with this revelation, some people are still thinking he's going crazy. But he's our key into the human world. And I really do like the human world. They know she's missing. They found her blood in the boiler room, but no body. And I do like this, the one guy who knows she's dead, but he can't be super negative. He can't just say, oh, he's dead, and everyone else is holding up hope. Kind of a grim element there. But we get to see all these different people. Like, her ex-boyfriend is one of the big suspects. You think he might have done it, and he becomes a little bit of a social pariah. She has two best friends, and they're, of course, missing her, and, you know, you'll get a key as to who she was from that. There's also, like, this preppy girl, but she actually turns out to have a bit of a past with our main character. And also a big one is the main character's mom, who deals with addiction after the death of her husband. And we get to see a whole bunch of the main character's life struggle through her past with her mom. And then we get things like a teacher that was there for her and stuff like that. Again, both sides have a pretty big cast, but everyone seems to have their point, and everyone really is interesting. And with the humans, you know, it's like with the ghost, you'll follow their own unique deaths and time periods. And with the humans, you'll follow suspicions, a lot of false leads, and you'll really get to wonder what each character says about the main character's past. Because I think each character really has a little bit of a key as to who she was. Now, that being said, with a lot of these being false leads, other people have things to hide other than murder. Large chunks of the show doesn't really turn into something that's like 100% relevant to her murder, but I didn't mind that because the false leads did keep you guessing, and it would be stuff you would have to shift through, but they all did pay relevant things to learning about the other characters, so it never really felt like a waste of time there. And I did like really not knowing until the end what exactly had happened to her, and it's a good amount of twists and turns, and it is a balancing game, and getting the reveals out to keep you hooked and keep you wanting to watch the next episode. Really a good act of pacing there. And overall, it played out really good. You know, I got to the end, I thought it was an interesting reveal. I would be curious what people thought of, you know, what actually happened when you find that out at the end. I'd be curious what you think. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, though. But overall, it was a fun show. I really liked it. It was a good surprise. And here's hoping I can actually catch a season 2 of this. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more stuff kind of like this, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.